Why do people make trouble? If you wonder about the answers to this question, you probably feel exhausted dealing with those people. You encounter such people in your close relationships, family, workplace, etc. You complain, what's the problem of those people? You may have pessimistic beliefs about human nature and think that people are selfish and bad creatures. Considering the world situation, these thoughts can be seem logical. There have always been wars and all kinds of problems in the history, and these problems seem to continue. So it is very difficult to feel calm and stable, but I want to share some insights that will help you deal with this difficulty. As an experienced psychologist, I've worked with hundreds of people. I realized that it is a superficial approach to use terms like bad and selfish for people. You may say that, I understand you, Cem. You believe that people are good in nature and we should try to feel compassion for those people. But I'm not buying this. Well, this is another kind of superficial thinking. I don't suggest feeling compassion for those problematic people, but I suggest you face reality and act accordingly. You shouldn't put your feelings aside and force yourself to try to be compassionate. Just face reality. Then what has to happen will happen. It is a sad thing to fool yourself with misjudgments and assumptions. However, my clients who have learned not to act like this realized one thing. So many things can be changed once you understand the importance of facing reality. If you believe that heightened awareness of the nature of people is crucial as a way of living in this chaotic and problematic world, then you can continue listening to me. So, what are the facts that you should face to understand why those people act problematic? I'll share 3 important points. The first one is what I call psychological sleep. As I mentioned in my Be Your Own Therapist book, the psychological sleep state means acting unconsciously with some patterns based on your past experiences. These patterns make you stay away from reality and maintain your psychological sleep state. For example, I'm a bad person, I don't deserve happiness, I'm unlovable, I have to be better from other people, otherwise I'll feel incompetent. Are all dysfunctional patterns diminish your life quality? If you behave using these patterns, you'll create problems for yourself and others. So, I teach people to watch for the problem signs as the first step of my wake technique framework. People who always create problems again and again are in this psychological sleep state. You may say there are people whose awareness level is not so bad. Those people may not be in a psychological sleep state, but they may lack some important skills. Communication, expressing emotions, assertiveness, seeking their rights, showing empathy, strategic and solution-focused thinking, tolerating emotions are all important skills everyone needs in some ways. If there are problems with these skills, future problems are unavoidable. So, the second important reason for problematic persons are lack of skills. At this point, you may say that, so what? Should we always think about individual responsibilities? Well, of course, that will be a superficial assessment too. Biology and environmental factors are also important effects on problems people create. Everything is not under your control and your responsibility. Our behaviors are affected by our brain chemicals and hormones as well. Some people have major dysfunctionalities in their physiology that create abnormal behaviors. For example, psychiatric disorders like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and intense obsessive compulsive disorder are all directly related to physiology. So, for some people, the root reason for problematic behaviors can be directly related to that kind of anomaly. We should also consider environmental problems as a source of problems people create. Being raised in a very bad childhood environment, living in a country where there is a war, living in an environment where there are not enough resources to fulfill basic needs, traumas like major losses will make a person's inner and outer world tremendously. If the emotions related to these environmental problems aren't processed effectively, problems will arise. When we look at people who commit a kind of crime, harm others, and do bad things, we see that most of them had more adverse life events than others. So it is a dangerous mixture when psychological sleep, lack of skills, and biological environmental factors are all happening together. At this point, you may have a question like, what I can do with this information? People who create problems should learn these things, not me. I suggest this. You should have a habit of trying to be awake as much as possible. When you aren't in a psychological sleep state, you will be able to understand and do something about problems people create. If you have a victim mindset because of those people who create problems, you definitely need to learn how to cope with those people. So staying away from a psychological sleep state as much as possible will be a good coping mechanism. If you aren't in a psychological sleep state, you can face all kinds of problems and do what needs to be done. When you solve the problems you have created, you'll be much more efficient in dealing with problems other people have created. I teach how to be psychologically awake in my Be Your Own Therapist book. I suggest you to learn that 4-step framework. You can get more information from the link in the description. Don't forget to share your ideas about this topic in the comments. Take care. I really mean it. When you understand yourself and other people better, it will be easier to face reality and do what you need to do. See you later.